And so it's Friday once again. Yay, Friday! And happy Pi Day Friday to everybody. It is October 7th, ending the first full week of October. What a good way to end it with Pi Day Friday. This is Drama. Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything. I am the aforementioned Dave Rush, your erstwhile host, senior instructor at Total Seminars, which I don't do a whole heck of a lot of, resident Pi specialist, and all around good guy. How's that? Man, there are less and less people here at the beginning. I might have to reevaluate this whole thing. But for the handful of folks that are here, greetings one and all. Raymond Quick has returned to the fold. Long time no see, my friend. Good welcomes back. Cannot speak today. And yeah, wow, everybody beat Tolowit. Patricia Grace got in there, pointing out that Raymond beats Tolowit when she, in fact, herself beats Tolowit. Raymond usually gets busy and phases it out, but have a question today. So, okay, well, post your question anytime, Raymond. And good greeting time, percent login name Tolowit. I note that you are the top dog in Hexbug, and I hope you get that. And I hope it's a short haul and you can actually go pick it up. And if not, I'm sure shipping it from there to you is nothing more than a drone couldn't do, or somebody with a good swift arm. I didn't look at the actual city or island where it is. I just noted that it was Hawaii and said, hey, I know somebody who might be interested in this. Andre de Goyert, another working week has ended. What is another working week has ended? I got the lyrics. I can't come up with the song title. Oh well, hello Will. Andre will. Andre, you have been a busy camper, so how's the reinstall of Hackintosh going? And you know what might be a more interesting exercise, Andre, is this is probably close to impossible, but it's a good reason to take this on as a fun project and see if you can hack the password. There's got to be a million things out there to how to hack a Mac, how to hack the password on a Mac. And maybe their policies are so good and so strong that it's almost impossible, and maybe you can't, but it seems like an interesting exercise to take a whack at. Oh man, that's good tea. My missus came home. Yeah, I'm seeing, I just saw a buffer on my system. The network here in my neighborhood has been very slow today, on and off. Some days, some moments it's perfect, and then some moments not. So I apologize to the buffers. It's nothing that I'm doing. I've got a fresh reboot on my machine, and there's not much not much going on in my machine. No back processes. So it ain't me. Patricia Grace has latched on to my new nickname on a Discord server that we're both on. I am Mudge. And Patricia Grace, all credit to you for that. Patricia Grace is the first person perhaps in my life to have called me, at least for a particular event that occurred, a curmudgeon. And that kind of sat with me, and yeah, I can be curmudgeonly. I don't disagree with that. And then one day, after a particularly curmudgeonly activity by myself, I said, you know what? I am a curmudgeon, at least sometimes and for some things. So I changed my name on that particular Discord server to Mudge. But it's not the Discord server that you and I will be sharing, the unofficial Total Seminars Discord server, where you will still find me as I believe I am drushtx, just as I am just about everywhere else in the technological world. And I'll get that link up shortly. Blue Lantern back, and with the fold, there we go. Happy October. It is October. Loving that stuff. Got stuff going up in the back, got stuff going up in the front yard. I'm going to take this stuff down in the next week or so. It's going to move to front yard and other parts of the house and things like that. And then it'll be my usual boring old set until the last show of October, which, as you know, I love to decorate this place for Halloween and for Christmas and for notable events, anniversaries, and 100 shows and stuff like that. So we will have a really nice Halloween display up for the backdrop when the end of the month comes. And what do we got here? We got a few people here. Speaking of the unofficial Total Seminars Discord server, you know what? Since I'm mentioning it like 10 times now, let's get that link posted. Post haste, not that document. This one that's got Mike Myers' email addresses on it and all the other things that I usually rapidly post into the channel. Okay, there's the Discord invitation link. So here's the Discord invitation link. Go there, check it out. It's awesome. We've got zillions of sub forums of all kinds of different interests. And I say we, it's not mine. It's not Total Seminars. We have no control over it. It just happens to have Total Seminars in the name. I'm a participant in there just like everybody else. I'm not a moderator or any of that stuff. So I'm not an owner, and neither is Mike Myers or any of the other staff at Total Seminars. Anyways, we do use that to communicate, to do research, to answer questions, to ask questions. There's hanging on about 500 people there, plus or minus these days, and it continues to grow. If you've got questions about computers, studying Linux, Raspberry Pi, go there. Answers may already be there and may not. Just post your question. Maybe you have answers. Come in and check out some of the areas that exist there and look around for questions and post answers. You can work with people. Camera support is set up so you can do face-to-face. So back to my original point here, cameras. So on, I believe, the 28th of October, I think that's the last, yeah, that's the last drama of the month. After drama, I'm going to pop over to Discord in costume. I'll have something funky to wear at the show, but it won't be my Halloween costume. And we invite you to do the same. Come on over with mics and cameras and just turn up. We'll do the usual, just shoot the breeze, whatever topic comes up. Religion and politics are fair game over there. And we'll just have a good time. So you got 3 weeks notice. Yeah, 3 weeks notice to put together a fun costume. It's a camera, so it only has to be from belly button up. In October in the Midwest is amazing. Got to get an Airbnb up here. Well, so we're from the Midwest. My missus just spent 8 days there in the Cleveland, Akron, Canton area of Ohio, and has shared with me, of course, pictures and experiences. I picked her up at midnight last night, and I spent 20 years of my life there, give or take. I've been away from Ohio as a resident for 40 years, but I still get there quite regularly. It did work on I did work on, okay, you did work on a MacBook. Okay. 20 miles from you for pickup if you win. Okay. I take that to mean it's on the same island, but whatever. Hope you get it. I enjoyed them. I played with them for a little while, and then I sent them to my son and his buds at college, and they committed atrocities to them, of course. Young college men think differently than anybody else on the planet. I'll be rebuilding that VM this weekend. Okay. Don Odinga, back in the fold. Devar, your voice is kind of low. I cranked up the volume real hard. I did make a change, not to the microphone, but to the microphone setup. I went, I'm probably blowing your head off right now. I went messer mode this week and got that boom mic. I don't like it in the shot. So it will go out of the shot, and that may just be my distance. Oh, you know what? I can crank that. I can crank that a little bit. Am I getting any? No, I'm not. So the problem with this boom setup, sadly, is when I touch the desk, the springs on it resonate and vibrate. And I apologize for having done that. But what is this? Now it's gotten much worse. Oh, stop it. I got to back that off. So I'll talk louder. I can't do that. That'll blow everybody in the house out. I knew I was going to wind up moving that at some time during the show today and that I was going to have to readjust it and get just that little bit hanging in the screen. Bugs me. All right, hands off the desk. Back channel stuff. Everybody does back channel. There's no back channel communication that happens all day long, most days. And then as soon as I fire up drama, yip, 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 yip. I have to see it because it's from one of my bosses. Okay. That was a nothing worthwhile thing. So let's shrink that thing out of the way altogether. No eminence here. So I grabbed my Hawaiian. I have 36 of them. Almost enough to get me through a year when you consider the couple days off a year that we don't do shows like Christmas and Thanksgiving and whatever. So I grabbed this one. I throw it down here on an area until I'm ready to put it on. And then I put it on typically about a half an hour before showtime. And I walked into the bathroom, comb my hair, brush my teeth, or do something. And I saw this, and I'm trying to read it in the mirror. And does that say Hertz lost error or something like that? Hertz never lost. And so I looked it up, and I got a feeling it's an old concept. Back when most cars didn't come with a GPS built in, this is, and it still seems to exist, and certainly more so in Europe than in the US. Hertz has this deal where when you rent a car, you can reserve a GPS for your car. Now, who cares? It's 2023 and we all have a GPS and maps rachar, but you can still reserve a GPS for your car from Hertz by going to Hertz Never Lost. And I'm not going to take that tag off. I like it. All right, ma'am. Oh, you jumped right. I didn't even see your message, or if I did, I saw it subliminally. I certainly have shotgun mics in my collection and condenser mics and all that good stuff. The problem is these silly desk mount things that with the double spring arm assemblies, and I'll probably get some kind of foam in between the clamp assemblies and quiet that down a little bit. Clang, clang. I have to keep my left hand off. Okay, I'm good. Thank you. And quick. Hey, it seems like the best place to ask for thoughts, but does anyone have a web-based terminal emulator that could be used on a Pi in kiosk mode with only a web browser open? I'm trying to parse that and see if I understand the question here. Web-based terminal emulator that could be used on a Pi in kiosk mode with only a web browser open. Okay, so I did a show, I'm going to look it up, a year ago or so, where you run a web browser in kiosk mode. So look, just look in the playlist archive and look up kiosk and you'll find that. So the only thing that you need to do is to find a terminal emulator that's web-based. And I can't imagine that that would take more than 20 seconds of research. So let me see here, web-based terminal emulator. I should probably put bash shell, but yeah, things are moving slow. 6 best web-based terminal emulators in 2022. Web-based emulator, Flynet. Yeah, so check out my episode on doing kiosk mode. Heck, I'll find that episode in short order. Let's go up one level. And then let's look up kiosk. K-I-O-S. Okay, there is the kiosk tutorial. And that's in March 12th of 21. So if you go back and look at the playlist, where you just go where you usually go, and just before you click on start the show, there's a playlist header there, and go back and find March, whatever I just said, March 12th of 2021. Chromium Command Line Kiosk Ops is, I think, what it's called. And that'll give you the kiosk mode, and then just do a search on your favorite search engine for web-based terminal emulator. There are zillions of them. Should be very easy to put those 2 and 2 together. If you're having a tough time, and you know, give it a try, and give me a contact on either my regular email or on Discord, and we can talk about it. We can work on it together. And so since I've said that, let's talk about emails and all those other good things that seem to be a good thing to get out of the way long about now. Share screen. So, of course, asking me questions here when they're reasonably quick that I can answer in short notice is the best way to do that here on the YouTube live stream. But if that's not possible, contact me over on Discord channel. I'm always there. If I'm awake, and I'm logged in and active, and as long as I'm sitting in front of here at the desk, which is about 16 to 18 hours a day. Otherwise, email me at either daveR@totalsem.com or drushtx@yahoo.com. And those are the best and easiest ways to get in touch with me. While we're doing this stuff, I'll put all this stuff on the YouTube chat as soon as I get done with this list. Weekly specials. So our special this week, 50% off ebook Total Tester bundle. You have to create the bundle, and it's for any of these 7 exam topics: A+, Net+, Sec+, CISA+, and so forth. Start by going to totalsem.com and put the ebook and the Total Tester practice test from the same one of these topics into your basket. And then when you check out this week, the code is Elvis, and that'll give you 50% off of those 2 items. If you have other stuff in your basket, you don't get the 50 points off. Now, if you do another bundle in there, you do. So maybe you can do A+ bundle and a pen test bundle. But Elvis, the code this week, because on Monday of this week, Elvis Presley made his first public appearance at a talent show at 10 years old back in 1945. I'm not a big Elvis fan, but I did try to memorize the little factoids that surround my reasons for selecting this stuff. Next week, we will celebrate the man who invented the celluloid billiard ball. I have a password based on him or his invention or something like that. The server's up with today's information in there. My server, my desktop server, pyrsquare.zapto.org, as listed up here. It's a list of all the documents that I use for all the shows that I have ever created that have a project in it. And that includes last week's and this week's. And that takes care of everything that I want to do in that handy dandy little document for the momento. All right, now let's put up all those things that I promised to put up. Links to all this stuff. So it starts with the AMA specials. And then I put this up. Oh, here's the PyR Square server. Let's put that up. And while I've already posted it once, it doesn't hurt to post it again, the Discord invitation. Well, we got lots of new Discord people that came on from Mike's show. I posted it about 6 times, and the more I post it, the more people see it because people come and go, I imagine. Let's see, 1945 Elvis Presley, email addresses. Okay, I'll give you that. And if you aren't following me or have linked with me on LinkedIn, you probably want to do that. I get more and more followers, and I do some kind of post, typically every week. Sometimes it's just what we're going to do this week. Sometimes it's a trick or trap or something really cool you can do with a Windows system, a Linux system. You never know what I'm going to post. Sometimes Mike Myers calls me up and says, hey, do a post on your LinkedIn about this cool thing that Cyber Labs has going up. Okay, I do that too. I know on which side my bread is buttered. All right, we're done with you. All right, what else is going back here? Andre, with that shirt, you'll just have to visit Tullamore on the island. I'll take all 34 of them. I'll stay there for 34 days and have a different one every day. 36, whatever. I picked up 2 more last weekend because I just couldn't resist, and the price was right. No more shirts. If they cost more than $4 a piece, my missus would not have come home. I've looked on Google and mostly out of maintenance plugins. Nah, don't use maintenance plugins. There's zillions of emulators out there. But again, talk to me over me or anybody else over on Discord, and we'll get things cooking up there. Basic idea is to move from VDI thin clients to using something like a Pi in kiosk mode, since 90% of those users only use web-based apps, but many need an SSH session to a remote Red Hat. Okay, let's see where you're going with that. Yeah, we should be able to work it. KioWare works well. Okay, Andre says. I haven't tried KioWare, but that looks cool. Donodinga. Unrelated. What's the easiest way to land yourself a job in the U.S. if you're an immigrant? Become a U.S. citizen. Now, I know you don't like that answer, but that's the answer to the question. What's the easiest way? Number next, H-1 visa application. Lottery. Look in the job sites where, you know what, I go in the job sites and put in the keywords for the kinds of jobs that you're looking for and add the word visa to that, or work visa. And U.S. citizen, right? You're going to run across all the ones that are just U.S. citizen, allowed or disallowed. A lot of folks, they don't think about that. Employers, especially kind of small and medium-sized employers, they'll post a job not realizing the international influence that their job postings have. And then somebody calls up and says, hey, I'd like a job. Great. Are you in commuting distance? Well, I don't know. Is Beirut commuting distance? And then they're suddenly in a world of research. Hey, what does it take for me to hire an expat? I don't have expertise in this area. I have some experience. We have hired and currently have working for us. So it's kind of interesting that we have a gent who works for us. I think he's on contract down in Mexico. Jesus, man, one of my favorite people in all the world. Love Jesus. He used to pop on here, but I don't think he loves me as much as I love him. You better be on here, Jesus, and post something up there. Job brokers, international job brokers. Take a look at that. But I'm kind of reaching into areas that I cannot speak authoritatively. I apologize. Raymond, looking down a Pi in kiosk mode isn't so much the issue as I've been researching browser-based terminal M's and wanted to know if you had no. So no, it's not something that I do on any kind of a regular basis. Probably every year or two, I get a wild hair and say, hey, what happens if is there a web-based terminal that I can use. Of course, the trick on that is what's it connected to, and is the thing connected to, does it have the resources that I want or need, or can I use it to connect to a resource that I want or need? And I don't have a straight answer for that, a regular answer for that. But let's go with Andre's suggestion to start with. And again, come on over to Discord and see who's got ideas over there. All right, there's all my posts. William Jeske is here. Yeah, I debated typing in the whole term the other day, and I purposely didn't do an @William Jeske when I did that. So I just kind of threw that. I knew that you would get it. It was intended for you to see and understand. And for anybody else, if they understood it, they got the joke. If they didn't, they might have looked and said, what the heck is Rush talking about? But kudos to you. I had to stare at that for a second and make that make sense. But you have just inspired me. I have Halloween costumes complete or in progress for the next 3 years. This year's, next year, and possibly the following. However, I'm going to make, I like the obscure, like yourself. So I'm going to do one from that. Nobody's going to get any of it unless they are of a similar bent as you and I. And, you know, unless you stick a red H on your forehead and do the double-handed salute, nobody's going to get it, and almost nobody's going to get it anyways. There is a uniform. There is one with the crest of the name of the craft on there. Obviously, the one who starts with a K is the most sophisticated costume that we can make. I'm inspired. 4 years from now, I will have an awesome costume from that. And I'm sure, you know, I'll bet if you go to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, you'll probably find dozens of characters from that show. I know, I was obscure. I was being obscure on purpose. It's all right. Okay, today is National LED Light Day. I fill the bill. Every light that I have on in this room right now is LED. Yeah, every. And I was a good guy when the last crisis that hit Houston came and it was time to, you know, replace all the bulbs and everything. I replaced them all with the bulb of the day, the CFL. There's still a few CFLs lying around here, but as they go, I replace them with LEDs. And, you know, I'm not green. I am cheap, but I kind of like the white and the warm LEDs. National Body Language Day, and yeah, I did read that it was Putin's birthday. International Day of Peaceful Communication. I can't help you there. They don't call me the Mudge for nothing. Catherine Legrand, not Legrande. I don't know what sent Mike down that tangent the other day. Anyways, welcome, Catherine. Good to see you back. Dinga, yeah, that's my ability. Samba Jallo is back amongst us. Samba Jallo and anybody else who goes to Discord, glad, love it. Love your questions, love your answers. One of the first things that a lot of people do is charge over and open up a direct message channel with me and say, friend me. And I don't. And it's not because I have anything against you or anybody else on there. I don't friend on social media. The only thing that I do like that is I link on LinkedIn. And the reason is because of my social media operator paranoia. I don't like to use social media. It very much goes against my fear of a privacy breach. nonetheless, it's a necessary evil. And so I do participate and will be participating in more and more as time goes on. You'll find me tweeting here in short order and a couple of other things, Instagramming and so forth. But the less information that the operators of those platforms have about me, the happier that I am. And one of the pieces of information that they have is information about you and information about me. And then when we friend each other, that gives them more information about us. So with deepest apologies to anybody who's asked me lately, in particular, for a friend, and I've just ignored it. What I usually do is ignore the friend request and I post all this verbiage that I'm telling you right now. So if you're looking to friend me on Discord, I will, DM me. We'll talk on DM. I'm completely good with that. But I just don't do friends. Sorry. Abu Bakr Al-Hajj, my good friend. Assalamu alaikum. Down in Dingo, we have two ISPs at work, and I was thinking to separate the incoming gig, 10 gig, and 100 gig ports by introducing an extra router, but both terminating to a 40-gate firewall. What could you suggest on this? Do it. I'm not sure what kind of suggestion you have in mind. Where are you? Stand by. All right, I showed people this a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to break it out again real quick because I haven't installed it yet. This is a dual port router and switch and firewall and VPN with SSL. And the whole point of this guy is to take feeds, either dual independent feeds from the same ISP or dual feeds from different ISPs or dual feeds from different routers. You can have a router from an ISP there goes into here and a router over there from an ISP over there goes into here. You can set these up in pass-through mode. You can set them up in all kinds of methods and then send these out. So this has built-in firewall that serves both of them and built-in VPNs that serve both of them. And they make new, faster, better, stronger models than this. This is a small enterprise grade one, but for the right price, I bought it for my home. So take a look for that. Let me give you a model on this thing. It's an FVS, Foxtrot Victor Sierra 336. And leave it at that. This one's a G, but there's all kinds of them. There's dash NAS and there's different versions of them. I think this one's a version 3. But I think you're on the right track. You should, if you've got independent connections. There's a lot of things that you should do. And the one thing that box doesn't do is high availability failover, HRSP, HRSP. You need 2 actual boxes for that, each running the HRSP. Yeah, HRSP is right. Failover protocol. So one is either non-operational all the time, or maybe you're operational, but basically the non-operational one is constantly calling the operational one saying, hey, how you doing? I'm fine. Cool. Hey, how you doing? I'm fine. And they're doing that all the time. Because if this guy ever calls up the main router and says, hey, how you doing? And the main router says, then he's going to try it a couple more times. Hey, you there? Oh my gosh, my live guy is dead. And he's going to turn himself on, become the new primary router, and he will do everything that the old router did. He'll even have his same IP addresses. So he is a failover, and that a single box can't do that, because if the single box dies, everything in it dies, right? Read messages. Andre doesn't use Twitter on Twitter. Not very active on Facebook. They killed my Facebook page. They killed my Facebook page, claiming that I was a gray user. And I run a little side business. That's all I do with that thing. And they decided that I was an overseas terrorist, political. I've never put anything political on there. I've never put anything there but pictures and advertisements of our side hustle events. So when I appealed it, they didn't even talk to me about the appeal. They just killed it. You got 30 days to get your stuff off of here and then we're gone. And so they did. So I will never participate with those horrible platform again. Horrible. And you know what, Facebook's on the way down. They're between their troubles and all the other issues that surround them. They were an industry leader one time. All industry leaders eventually fall. They are in their downfall days. Yes, I am gray. Shame on you. Anyways, so Andre's on Telegram to stay updated with liberation of Ukraine, sure. And juicy videos YouTube won't allow. Yeah, I hope you saw my message about HIMARS this morning. Loving the HIMARS stuff that I read about this week. That was exciting. Well, all right, it's 36. Let's go check notes, see what I need to talk about in there. I think I'm pretty well caught up. Mike did not do a contest, on Wednesday. He had a really good show. He was totally engaged and totally engaging. And I reminded him about 10 minutes before the end of the hour, hey, we got to do a contest. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's 10 before the hour. And next thing you know, he's still going and he's still answering questions and the hour's up. Okay. Completely forgot about it. We talked about it afterward. So I'm going to do 2 contests today, back to back. One's going to be Security Plus. The other is going to be Network Plus question. I can whistle a tune. Did you get it? I can name that whistle in 47 notes. We did specials, teacher feature. Let's talk briefly, tease about today's project. So I had a project in mind for today, and my workload this week was insane and suicidal. So I did all the research and I did a general outline, but not enough to do presentation. And I was really worried about that last night. I tried to work on it last night, and then, oh, now I got to go get the missus at the airport. And I was exhausted when I got home. I'll just get up early and I'll write. And couldn't do that. But just before I fell asleep, it dawned on me, oh gosh, I had a really cool associated, simple, easy project that we can do that's tied and necessary for Ansible. So we're going to do a little mini project today. It's not going to take long, 10 minutes, 15 at the most. So we got plenty of time for questions and comments. It'll be after that. What I think I'm going to do? I'll do a contest before we do our presentation, and then I'll do one afterward. There'll be plenty of time to do that and give you a reason to hang out afterward if you haven't won a prize in a while. So anyways, today's project can be done on any box that has Ansible on it, pretty much any Linux box. I said the other day, last week, when we were talking about installing Ansible, I was listing off the platforms that Ansible could be installed on. It's basically any Linux distro. It's Mac because Mac is a Unix distro. And I said Windows. In my head, I was both right and wrong. Yes, you can install it on Windows, but you can't install it in Windows. It only installs on Linux distros, and so you have to install Windows subsystem for Linux, WSL, put a Linux distro in there, and then put Ansible in there. So it doesn't run native under Windows. Man, that's good tea. Probably because it's been in the fridge for about 2.5 weeks. I almost only drink it on show days, especially it's getting cooler here. It's not 105 degrees every day anymore. Haven't seen rain in weeks. I got to water the lawn, but All right. So today's project can be done on any Linux distro. It's really, really, really simple. It's nice. So where we've been, last week we installed Ansible and did a test on the installation. And our test showed that Ansible was successfully installed and could read inventory files. We had a little bit of a failure, and I'm going to talk about that today. I'm not going to solve that. I'm kind of going to solve that problem today, but we'll fully solve it next week. So where are we going today? We're going down the Ansible path. We're going to talk about what happened with the SSH connection last week. And then I'm going to show you what to do if you have the same problem that I have and you can't get the SSH key exchange to work. There's another way, and that's quick and easy and fun and simple. This is all part of the extension. It's part of Sec Plus infrastructure as code objective. What is that? Objective 2.2, summarize virtualization and cloud computing concepts. All right, fine. Did that. Zapdos servers up and running. It's got today's stuff. So news, tricks, and techniques of the week. Today is October 7th, as I mentioned. A plus 220-100X 10X retires on October 20th, which means you got 13 days if you're going to complete 10X studies and pass that exam. I got I didn't get there was a post this morning on CompTIA subreddit. The poster says, I just passed, or I'm going to take and pass my 1001 today. Do I have time to study and pass 1002 before it retires? And I posted a response. My answer was absolutely. It has been, what his core question is, has anybody ever done this before? Yes, people post all the time that I killed myself for 5 days or 6 days and did intense study at 12 hours and 13 hours of study a day for 5-6 days and went and took the test and passed it. Obviously, this is a subjective answer. It depends on their background, how close they meet the experience levels, what they know before walking in the door. Do they have the time to do that intensive study? Do they have the drive to do that intensive study? And I addressed all that stuff. Other people jumped in and said, nah, man, give it up. Go tough, skip the 1001 and just start over with 1101. Maybe that's the right answer for some people. For me, if I started and I got 13 days left, I'm going to finish it. I do a boot camp for feds, 9 days. 9 days. We do 8 hours of study a day with an hour lunch break in there. Then they go back to their hotel rooms or their homes and study for another 3 or 4 hours that night. And so we do a 5-day week, weekend off. Some of them study during the weekend. Then we do 4 days the following week. And then 8 a.m. Friday morning of the 10th day, they come in and I got the testing center up and running. And we have to bring in another proctor in, because new rules as of a couple of years ago, if you teach a class, you can't proctor the exam. So we bring in somebody else from the company who's a certified proctor, and they proctor the exam, and we have a 95% first time pass rate. And of the people who don't pass the first time and they take a second exam 3 hours later, 95% of them 50% of them pass the second time on the 10th day. So can be done. You've got to sacrifice. You've got to put every moment of your time. Dave, I get distracted easily. Then don't do this. Okay. You got to put your big boy pants on, and you got to study if you want to rapidly crank this stuff out. If you have the time, take your time. If you want to go 11.0x, you got 3 years now. All right, you get the idea. You got 13 days to finish 10.0x. Otherwise, you will do 11.0x. It's your only choice after this. I want to talk about an experience that I had starting late last week and going through Monday of this week. I had a virtual project, a VirtualBox project, how to make a VM. Now I make VMs with VirtualBox in my sleep. I do the same kind over and over and over, the same steps over and over and over. I don't dig through menus. I know the menus that I want and what I want to turn on and what I don't want to turn on and what I want to configure. But this one was new for me, and it was a very complicated setup that required lots of setup and configuration stuff that I have never needed to mess with in the past. But I finally got the first one up and running. Cool, it's up and running. And I'm playing with this OS, and I said, all right, well, I've made some changes to it now. I want to reboot it and see those changes take effect. And I rebooted and it got stuck in a boot loop. So the only way out of it was to do another install. And these installs were taking 90 minutes to 2 hours. So I made a change in the configuration and then did another install. Obviously, I don't sit there for 2 hours and babysit it. Go back and check it every half an hour or so. It's almost ready for the next step. And it didn't work. Same situation. And I went through that for 4 or 5 days. Every single stupid thing that I wanted to make a change mandated a fresh install. And I got deep into the guts of VirtualBox as I studied appropriate changes to make and to explore and to configure. I know so much more about VirtualBox now than I did a week ago. Still not enough to make it work. And so rather than all these trial and error configuration changes, I thought I'd try something else. I thought maybe I'll research and see if anybody else has experienced the same thing that I have and if they've overcome it. Well, I wish I'd done that on day 2. I was using an ISO image of a beta release of the operating system. And that beta release had a problem in it that made it incompatible with the computer that I was using and with VirtualBox. So a little more challenging to find, but I found a true release candidate that came after that beta release and installed it. Also made 2 other changes to improve the performance of it because it was dog slow. The installation happened in about an hour instead of 2 hours. And thought, well, no use messing around and trying to configure this thing without knowing if this thing works. So let's reboot it and see what happens. And popped right up. And I've done all kinds of things with it since Monday to play with it and reboot it, and just got to get the right ISO. But I know a lot more about VirtualBox these days. So if you got something creative going on VirtualBox and you need a little help, I may be able to help you. More news, tricks, and techniques of the week. Canonical, the owners, makers of Ubuntu, released a new freebie this week. Used to be, if you wanted security patches for your version of Ubuntu, it came with security patches up to basically, let's call it 2 years. And then you could buy security patches. And security patches are $25 a year per workstation or $500 a year per server. I'm not sure if that's per year or lifetime, but whatever it is, you had to cough up some money. Well, they just offered 10-year security patches and updates for free up to 5 machines. That's servers or workstations, total of 5 registered under you and your name. You want more than that, you got to cough up the bucks, $25 per workstation or $500 per server. So I've got 2 daily drivers running Canonical here, Ubuntu, and I just installed a new one today, so I haven't gotten around to installing the security patch token for that. But for my real daily driver, installed, and I feel good. How's that? And last, let's see. I'm going to show you how am I doing on time here. 48. Yes, I'm okay on time. I'm going to show you a project that I don't think you and I are going to do because it's going to require $25 and $175 in hardware. I'm going to do it. And I'm having a fun time dealing with the original developer and some people who cloned it. All right, I have never tried this before, but I'm going to share. Okay. Pause, baby. There you go. Your pause. All right. So I'm going to try and share this. I don't know how it's going to go. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All right. I'm sharing. It's called a piano LED visualizer. It's an LED strip that you put above your keys on a piano or on a keyboard. Can support MIDI, doesn't have to support MIDI. Well, let's get into the meat of the game here. And it does three things. It does more than three, it does lots of things. But among the things that it does are, it will light up LEDs over your keys when you press a key. Can work the other way around. It can light up and show you which keys to press, kind of learn to play piano by sight. It can, because it's MIDI based, it can do both simultaneously. It lights up the key that it's playing and it plays that key over MIDI. All right, which I think is what's going on here. So I'm going to do this project. And if it's workable and shareable, I'll share it with you. If it's not, I'm still going to document it. There's nobody out there who's documented a build or creation of one of these things. They just kind of exist out there. And I will put that up as, probably a 3 or 4 port series that has nothing to do with drama or total seminars. This is just Dave's Pi project. Follow along if you feel like it. But if you're musically inclined, if you're electronically inclined, if you're Raspberry Pi inclined, you're MIDI inclined, all of those interests combined into one nice little thing. Loving the idea. All right. I should take care of my notes. We're up to a contest. Let me check what's going on in messages here. All unanswered questions. Yeah, we're up to a contest next. And then we'll do that. I'm going back to 235. Andre Gort says, "You are gray, Dave Rush." I think you misspelled great. Tell it. Yeah, go MySpace. Vive le livre journal. Shoot. I need the country. I can't come up with it. Budapest wines are particularly fruity. It's not Budapest, though. Estonian wines are particularly fruity. Reading messages. Joining today as home from work. Workplace had some damage in clothes. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, right, because you were in the area. Mr. Dave says, Samba, I'm having network problems, to be attentive in class. Okay. Attendance isn't mandatory. If you have to step out or disconnect, it's all good. Yeah, I'm glad that you're okay. I don't care what happens in your office. You and your family are fine. And that's the answer to the prayers that I make. Scott S. Yes, if you've already passed 10:01, you might as well shoot your shot. You're sure? Heck yeah. Thompson twins reference. Nice, Telowit. Hey, there he is. Krampus Dumpling. Long time no see. Krampus season is coming around. What do you suggest after A+, Net, and Sec+? Get a job. I don't suggest anything after that. You've got to now pick what you want to do. Get a job in that area or one that leads to that area. Find out what, pick a company, pick a job. Get employed by somebody who has or leads to that job and let them tell you what certification you want or need next. You can't get jobs by accumulating a bunch of certs. Of course, there are exceptions to that, but they are rare and far between. Work, learn what you like to do. And number one, get the certifications that are appropriate to your job as specified by your employer. Number two, get your employer to pay for it. They probably are going to anyways. First time I installed it took several hours, then I forgot to write down the password. Yes, Budapest is in Hungary, but it wasn't, I had the line messed up. Estonia was the correct line that I was looking for. Okay, you got a job. Job was step one. All right, so now you do what your employer calls for, do what your next job calls for. All right, that gets me up on questions. Let's do a contest. What do we got here? Anybody here worthwhile to, you're all worthwhile. Okay, we got enough people to do a contest. So I'm going to do a contest now, then I'm going to do a presentation, then I'm going to do another contest, then we'll do Q&A till we close down. So today's contest is for 90-day access to any total test or practice test that Total Seminar offers. Well, that's wacky stuff. And all you have to do to win that access is answer me the question that I'm about to post up. I got to get my prep documents ready. Almost there. There it is. Total tester winner. I got the question up over there. So today's the question we're going to do for this contest is going to be a Security Plus question. It's going to be multiple choice. There are 4 choices for you to select from, 2 right answers. You must type in the correct answers. They're easy, one-word, short name answers. Sorry, I'm looking for something. There it is. All right, let me get things ready. And then winner, whoever you are, stick around. Make sure you copy and paste the instructions that I'm going to post in the YouTube chat feed. Excuse me, there's my hiccups. And you can send me your information correctly the first time, and I'll get everything submitted tonight, and it'll come to you Monday morning or Tuesday morning, whenever the staff who handles that thing first thing in the week next week does. All right. I lean toward people with right answers who have not won as much as people with right answers who have won frequently. I will continue to hold that policy for a while. We're trying to make sure a lot of people get a chance to win this stuff, but your odds are really good today because I got 2 different contests. Sorry, getting all my shares set up here, ready to go. Click that, click that. This is a page we're going to come back to, what to do if you win. So ready? Here comes the question. It's 2 right answers. You're going to put both answers on one line, and you only get to submit 1 time. So be right. And please don't try to game the system and have fun with me. There's just too many posts for me to filter through. And when Andre puts all 4 answers, or in this case, there would be 16 possible combinations, 2 to the 4th, 2, 4, 8, 16. Yeah. Just put 1 answer with both information, and put 1 post with both answers in that single post. All right, ready? Here comes first contest question of the day. Select 2 correct answers from the list of choices. Which are the 2 symmetric encryption algorithms? Let me read that completely in order. Which are the 2 symmetric encryption algorithms from the list of choices here? Your list of choices are Blowfish, RC4, RSA, MD5. Of that list, which are the 2 symmetric encryption algorithms from the list? All right, let's see. So I'm reading answers here and I'm looking at something else here. Okay. There we go. Abu Bakr doesn't help if you put it in Arabic. I can copy and paste it and put it in a translator, but I know about 30 or 40 Arabic words and phrases. I gotta run out. Reading and writing is not included in that list. Post the question, not the answer, says Andre. What if they had left answers? Thank you. I'm looking for somebody with a right answer. Wow. Okay, I don't see a right answer yet, which doesn't mean somebody hasn't posted one. It means it just hasn't popped up on my feed yet. I know it's challenging. You do have to know this stuff for Security Plus. And when we get done with this one, I am going to give you the ultimatest hint that you will know this answer all the time. I got a 100% easy clue and hint. All right, looking through the list, make sure I'm not missing anybody. R2D2, thank you, Sling Buzz. I didn't study this one yet. It looks like you have time to research because nobody's got it yet. I'm gonna let it sit up there for another minute or two. My keyboard was in Arabic when I wrote the answer. Okay. It was probably the right answer. Making notes, stand by. I got lots of people who are online today and who haven't posted a guess. Got about 20 people, and there's only been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. R2D2 doesn't count as a guess. 7. Majdi, you got to put both answers. This is a 2-answer one on your post. But I do have a winner. There's only one person who won. They've won in the past, but they're going to win again because nobody else is doing it. Let me make my notes over here. The answer, there we go, is Blowfish and RC4. And let me show you the clue. Write this down. Remember this. Put this in your notes. How you will know which are encrypted and which are not. Of all the encryption algorithms listed in the objectives, all the ones that end in S, SH, or a number are symmetrical. So Blowfish ends in SH, RC4 ends in a number. But wait a minute, Dave. MD5 ends in a number. Yeah, but it's not an encryption algorithm. It's a hashing algorithm. So watch very carefully on that when you encounter questions like this. Make sure you know what they're asking. Read the words very carefully. So RSA doesn't end in SSH or a number. It is an encryption algorithm, but it is therefore asymmetric. MD5 ends in a number, but it's not an encryption algorithm. So our winner today, Andre de Goyert. Andre, you know the drill, but I'll post it up here anyways, just for hoops and grins. Send me an email with the usual 4 pieces of information in it in the body of the email and which practice test you're interested in. Andre de Goyert, you have won many practice tests and you can win another one. However, if you would instead prefer a total SIMS, we have them for A+ and Net+. Right now, I don't know which one's for old and which one's for new. Net+ is current. We got all the new stuff for Net+. All the old Net+ or A+ are done and available, and we're still doing new A+, new 11.0x A+. But you can put in a request for those, and when they pop up, now what you do is get the old ones, and then when the new ones become available, you'll automatically be upgraded to the new ones. That's the way to do it. They don't have total sims for Sec Plus. If you want total tester for Sec Plus, cool. That's what to submit. All right. So congratulations, Andre. I'm not going to put that slide up. You know this one. All right. That gets us caught up here. Yes, you did win. Andre de Goyert has won. And very good. MD5 is a hash. Okay, good. Well, let's talk a little bit about today's project. Shrink that and go into project notes. How are we doing? Oh man, I just shrunk that. I didn't want to shrink that. Okay, it's 5 minutes after. Again, we're only 10 or 15 minutes to accomplish today's stuff. That's just weird, but it's okay. All right, so the title of this week's project is SSH connection from an Ansible controller to hosts using account names and passwords. So last week, thinking I did everything right and having tested in the past, I did an SSH key exchange from the Ansible host to the target hosts. And I was able to log into them using SSH and fantastic. And I did the test one time and it worked like a dream. So before the show, I cleaned out all the SSH keys so I could demonstrate how to do an SSH key exchange and then do it. Well, no, sorry, I didn't clear out. I left everything as is. But when I went to demo it last week, nothing worked. Just like I never did a key exchange. So after the show, I worked on it all night. Didn't do any of my usual Friday night activities. I just murdered myself over getting it to work. Never, no, it's not true. One time, got it to work. One time. So in fact, I took a picture, a screenshot of it and saved it over to Discord. It's posted over there. And I think I have it here in this folder. If I do, let me share with you what we were supposed to have seen. And then I'm going to show you today how we're going to deal with the problem if we can't solve it natively. SSH key exchange, successful Ansible, okay, Ansible connection. So let me get this picture up, and I'm going to share it with you. So when we ran this command over and over and over, in all kinds of different attempts, we got these red failure messages. What I'm going to show you is what it's supposed to look like, what a success message looks like. And what it looks like is all this handy dandy green stuff here. It says my connection to 192.168.1.141 and the Ansible command that I sent to it was a success. All this purple stuff, don't worry about it. Just it's a reminder that the host and the Ansible controller are using different versions of Python. That's okay, doesn't hurt anything. And then same thing to my host ending .1.121. It too was a success. So that's what it's supposed to look like. That's what's supposed to have happened. But it didn't. We got these red error messages that said unable to establish a connection. And let me fire up a terminal session here. Putty pi at Ansible pi dot local. Okay, connecting. I'll get you visible here in just a moment. There we go. Raspberry, R-A-S-P-B-E-R-R-Y. Okay. Now we share that. All right, so I'm going to show you what I believe should be a failure right now. Just to remind you how bad it looked, I'm going to say Ansible. And then a tag for a list of hosts that I have in an inventory file. We'll review what all that is. Minus module, use the ping module. So he's going to go look in my inventory file, find a list of host addresses under a tag called no key, and run an Ansible module called ping. It's very similar to the real ping command, but it's a little bit different. And here we go, buzz, 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 grind, grind, grind. No keys, I think it's plural. There we go. So that's the failure that we got last week. So what I did to get that success last week, what I did before I got the success last week, was to do a bi-directional key exchange. Doesn't seem to be necessary, but I did it. So I said, all right, Ansible host, you're going to send your keys, your SSH keys, down to these hosts. And then I went to these hosts and said, you're going to send your keys up to the Ansible host. And I did that, and I ran the test, and it worked. And I said, wow, I don't understand why that seems very backward. It seems unnecessary, but there it was. And so I cleaned out all the keys and did it again for repeatability, and it didn't work. And I worked on that all night, Friday night, until the wee hours of the morning. So wee that when I finally got tired of all the failures and I said, I got to go to bed. It's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I thought I'll go outside and take a quick look at the stars to see where the moon is so I can get ready for our astrophotography episode. And there was 2 big old dogs in my backyard that started to chase me down, and I didn't have anything other than a log pile nearby. So I grabbed a log and started swinging at it until they gave some distance, and then I was able to back into my house. But I don't go into my backyard anymore without a big stick and a noise maker. At least so they'll bark at me and I'll know if they're there. All right. So we got a problem here. The problem is SSH Key Exchange isn't working. And I tried so many combinations. And I think what's going on is there's something cached that's left over in one of the machines. Maybe it's in the Ansible cache, maybe it's in the SSH cache. I don't know. But I said, look, I can't solve this, and I got to do a show on Friday. So if you don't have an SSH Key Exchange and you want to do an SSH session from one host to another, then you log in using an account name and a password. Is that a possibility with Ansible doing the same thing? Turns out, after a little bit of research on Saturday, the answer is yes, absolutely. So that's what we're going to talk about today. SSH Key Exchange isn't working. Your Ansible machine can't communicate without passwords and accounts to your host. How do we do that? And the whole point of Ansible is to make it automated. So when I run an Ansible command, when I run an Ansible playbook, I hit the enter key and I walk away and I come back a little while later and everything is done. So it's going to have to be responsible for logging in to these hosts. Since you can't do it with an SSH key, he's going to have to provide account names and passwords. And it turns out that's really easy. Let me go to my notes here because I'm mostly going to do this top of my head. It's all documented and you can follow along. Just go to pirsquare.zapto.org and download today's notes. Hardware that you need, a machine that runs Ansible. And so I've got a Raspberry Pi. It happens to be a 4B with 4 gigs in it, but runs fine on a 3B, not even a B plus, with 1 gig of RAM and a 16 gig card on the bottom end. We've already installed Ansible. We talked about how to do that last week, so that part's cool. So our next step, let me see, would be to do an SSH key exchange. I'm going to show you SSH key exchanges next week. Hopefully I'll have the problem solved and we can do Ansible with SSH key. But if not, we're going to use today's method to do provisioning with Ansible the week after next. So this week, I'm going to show you the workaround when SSH key exchanges aren't working. Next week, I'm going to show you how to use Ansible to provision a host using today's method. Sorry, next week, I'm going to show you how to do SSH key exchanges. And then the following week, we're going to do provisioning with Ansible using one method or the other of establishing SSH connections between the Ansible controller and the hosts to be provisioned. I changed the batteries in a mouse today. I have two mice sitting on this desk. I didn't change them in the other, and this one's starting to fail. I hope I get through the session. All right, just read my notes here. Okay, so the key, the secret to solving this problem is an app called, SSH Pass, all one word. And the tutorial that I used for last week's project made no mention of this. Okay, so I didn't know anything about it. And then on Friday night when I was troubleshooting and on Saturday troubleshooting, I came across all kinds of references to this SSH Pass thing, including a lot of tutorials that when you install Ansible, sudo apt install Ansible, at the same time, they want you to install SSH Pass to give you maximum flexibility in case you have SSH issues like mine. So would have been good to know. So I've already got Ansible installed here. I guess if we try and do it again just for hoots, we can say sudo apt install Ansible. Buzz, grind. You already have the newest version. Okay. So then we would install this SSH Pass thing, which I also already have installed. Now, installing Ansible is 1 minute and 50 seconds. Installing SSH Pass takes 10 or 15 seconds. So it's quick, it's easy, it's painless. And what SSH Pass is and does is it allows other utilities to create an SSH connection using account names and passwords. The only question is, does that utility know how and where to get SSH account names and passwords? Well, Ansible does, of course. So let's do a little bit of review about one thing, an inventory. Ansible needs two things. It needs a list of hosts that it's going to connect to via SSH to perform provisioning, and then it needs the list of provisioning that it's going to do to those hosts. Now, in 2 weeks, when I get back into this, there's two kinds of provisioning. One is called ad hoc, which basically means a command that you put on the Ansible command line and say, connect to the remote host in the list and do this thing that the command line says, or we can make a much more sophisticated list of tasks with more valuable details and more informative details called a playlist, and we can run it in playlist mode. So ad hoc mode and playlist. The list of hosts that it's going to update can actually be done on the command line. You can say sudo Ansible IP address of this host, IP address of that host, and so forth. But when you use that method, you're pretty well relegated to using SSH key exchanges beforehand. Yeah, there's ugly, nasty ways to do that. And I also want to point out one other thing. Ansible is powerful. We're doing it in the most simplest way possible so we can demonstrate it. But one of the things that it can do is it has a thing called Ansible Vault. Ansible Vault holds account names and passwords so they're not in playlist files or inventory files, which are easily exposed. All right, back to business. So inventory files. An inventory file is the list of hosts that are going to be updated, going to be provisioned, and those lists are put together under tags. Now, there's a default inventory file when Ansible runs. If I just say Ansible and some ad hoc command, like, let's see, we got to put a keyword here, keys, -m ping. What Ansible is going to do, as a reminder and refresher from last week, is look in the current directory for a file called hosts. And it's going to read that file if it finds it, and that should be an Ansible inventory file. If it doesn't find it there, it says, Dave, you're logged in as Pi. I'm going to go look in the Pi home folder for an invisible folder called .ansible and a file in there called hosts. And if that folder and that file exists, that's where I'm going to read your inventory from. And if those two things don't exist, then I'm going to look at a third place. And this third place used to be auto-created a million years ago when you installed Ansible, but it isn't anymore. So last week we did this manually. We went to the Etsy folder and we created a folder called Ansible. And then we go into the Ansible folder. And I got two things in here, and one of them is a file called hosts. And let's see, we want to cat it. Yeah, we can cat it. So this is the only thing my hosts file has in it. Two hosts under a tag called keys, two hosts under a tag called no keys, and there's some additional information here on the ones under keys. And as you read it, it becomes pretty obvious what this is. These are predefined variables that Ansible knows about. Ansible underscore SSH underscore pass, which is weird because it has to come first before the username. It says, okay, well, I'm going to be using an account that's got a password called Raspberry to log into this thing, and the account name, Ansible underscore SSH underscore user, is Pi. And so when he goes to make an SSH connection with there, he's going to use SSH pass, the program, pass these parameters through SSH pass. SSH pass will log in as Pi using the account name password and say, okay, Ansible, it's all yours. Do what you're going to do. Same thing, of course, on the next line. We define a user under Ansible SSH. Hey, same name, Pi. And password, by amazing coincidence, these. So I didn't set account names or passwords on these. And I want to mention two things here about this inventory file. All this stuff. So we're going to go back and run a command on here again and make sure everything fails that's supposed to and doesn't fail that's supposed to. But I want to show you the other thing. There is another label that's in here that you can't see. It's a default label and it's called all. If you reference all in your Ansible inventory area on the Ansible command line, it will go and find every host that you have under here, under any label that you have, and try to run Ansible on that. All right, so let's see if any of that stuff is true. Let's go back to our home folder. And let's say Ansible. We're not going to specify a path to the host file, etc. Ansible hosts. We don't have to do that because that's a default. There is no hosts file in my current directory. There's no .ansible folder in my home directory with a host file in. So he's going to go and find that one. And then we're going to say no keys. Go to the label in the inventory file with hosts under no keys and run our command here. Use the module ping and run it. So he goes and reads the host file. He finds two hosts, one ending in .165, one ending in .166. He's trying to do an SSH connection using the native SSH keys that are in the system, but they failed. Two reasons. One, I've never done a key exchange with those two hosts. And two, it ain't working. So let's try it again on the ones with the accounts in it. Okay, he's reading the host file and he found 141 and he said, hey, I used the account name Pi and I used the password Raspberry and I was able to run the ping command on there. I ran ping and it responded back with a response, which I'll call Pong. It's a one-time ping. That's what the module in Ansible does. And then I did the same thing with 121. So if you can't get SSH key exchanges to work between Ansible controller and the Ansible target host, all you've got to do is on your host lines, add Ansible SSH pass, whatever it is. Now, again, this is stuff in the real world. If I weren't teaching this, I would put in a vault because this is a text file that's pretty easy to find if somebody were able to hack into this machine, and they would therefore learn account names and passwords of potentially tremendous numbers of hosts. Let's try one more here. We tried it with no keys. It failed because SSH isn't configured and I didn't set up passwords and account names. This worked because I did use the passwords and account names. Let's try one more. Same command, except instead of the 2 visible labels that are in there, I'm going to say all. So it's going to find every host under every label and try to run this ping module on them. 2 should work, 2 should fail, right? There's my 2 failures. There's my 2 successes. Huzzah. That's all I want to do today. I just want to show you the workaround that if you don't have success with SSH key exchanges, and I'm going to work on that all week this week to either solve the problem, or if nothing else, I'm just going to show you some ways to do SSH key exchanges. And I want to show you something kind of important about that. Let's keep that up and running in case I go back there for the end of the day. We did an exercise a year ago creating a cluster of Raspberry Pis. And in order for them to work, you got to do SSH key exchanges on them. They worked. It's a different program. It had no trouble. And what I showed you back then was how to do manual key exchanges. What we had to do was we generated an SSH key on the primary machine, and then we copied it and then logged in using account names and passwords to one of the hosts in the cluster, and then manually created a file and manually created a folder, and then put the contents of that key into the manually created folder, and then logged back out of there and tested it. And then we did that again for each other element, for each other host in the cluster. It wasn't particularly painful, but I'm going to show you the automated way to accomplish that. It's much, much, much quicker. It's much, much, much easier. It makes the folders automatically. It makes the files automatically. It transfers the keys automatically. It's really fun. It's really easy. And that's going to be next week's show. All right, is there anything that I missed in notes? That was one of those ones where I took a big risk. I didn't follow my notes page by page, word by word. I've done this so many times in the last week that I've got this down pretty well, but just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did, because everything that was supposed to fail failed, and everything that was supposed to succeed succeeded. Yeah, so that's it. Short, sweet. Next week, another short topic, bi-directional SSH key exchanges, just for the sake of key exchanges, and then I'll keep working them to see if what it takes to make them work with Ansible. And if not, when we do our Ansible project the week after that, we'll use account names and passwords. All right, that finishes my notes up to my closing and my next week's stuff and so forth. So let's go back, catch up on notes, questions. I got about a half an hour left to showtime. I'll take questions. I'll talk about anything you're interested in. I had something interesting to share with you, but we'll go. Okay, so I'm picking up here messages back at around 3:04. Andre, I can use them for a sec plus. For real, dogs better back off my mudge. I don't know what they are. I mean, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. The moon was gone. One of them was dark, like a medium-sized lab. It looked sleek. And you know, you don't usually find mean labs. And then the other one, it kind of looked like a vanilla lab, about the same size for what little bit of light was in the backyard. I debated going in and getting something hefty and going back out and dispatching the dogs. I thought, no harm, no foul. But I'm not going out there again without some means of offering them some love back. Hunted in his own yard. And I didn't fail. I found a way to that doesn't work. Thank you, Mr. Edison's assistant, Watson. Yeah, I know. That's my thing. Buzz, 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 grind, grind, grind. You know, everybody's got one. Sometimes I steal mics, but that one's been mine for decades. So I like it. Passing 320 messages here. Andre, good philosophy. Found a way that doesn't work rather than fail. Yep. Yeah, Edison used to say that after all of his lack of successes in inventing the light bulb. We didn't fail. We just found 219 methods that aren't right. Something like we've learned 219 things not to do. All right. Well, if you've got any questions left, now's the time. Otherwise, I'm going to make this a short show. Fun. Okay. Here, I'll kill a moment here and tell you about my upcoming weekend. So my missus has been gone for the week. I'm useless without her. I can make dinner. If it's a peanut butter jelly, a keto peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So bread made out of almond flour, which just means ground almonds. And most peanut butter is keto anyway, as long as you get the stuff with no sugar in it. No sugar peanut butter sucks, by the way. Eat peanuts. Get it over with. No, failing is not the first step in succeeding, Raymond Quick. Succeeding is the best first step. But if you don't achieve that, then failing is the second step. So you can try it again. I believe in first successes only. If not, abandon all hope, ye who enter here, and give it up. Anyway, okay, so back to my point. So my neighbor's house, you may recall in the news, February, a year and 3/4 ago, a year and a half ago, whatever it was, Texas had this big freeze, big freeze, and power grids went out and lots of damages. And what really happened is, these houses, especially down here in Houston, aren't exactly well insulated from the cold. So cold got into homes and attics and things like that where there are copper pipes and caused the water in the pipes to freeze and swell. And then when the thaw started, the swollen cracked pipes burst all over the place. And my neighbor pretty much lost the entire inside of his house. He has not been in his home since that day, other than to come and get stuff out and direct contractors and check the status of contractors. But he's been out of his house for a year and a half, and I don't know how much longer. They were in this theory that they'd be in by August. I've been in there recently, months and months and months to go. And of course, every contractor in the world right now, at least in the US, has left their home state and charged into Florida so they can do gypsy contract works. And even worse, my insurance company that has been dragging their feet since November on my home, their headquarters is in Florida. They're probably going to go bankrupt, and I'm never going to get any money to finish fixing my house. I'm going to wind up eating that. Not the point. Anyway, as part of the damage, we lost much of the fence, most of the fence, all of the fence that separates his yard from my yard. We're good friends. We don't care. We can take it down and share, but he's got dogs and he doesn't want them in my yard and vice versa. So he and I started to replace the fence not long after the freeze, when the weather got a little bit better. It's not true. It was summer, hot. Oh my gosh, roasting hot. And we got half of it done, about 200 pickets. And it sat like that now since the end of last summer. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to pick up another 200 pickets. The weather here is lovely, 70s and 80s on the high end, which I know is kind of hot in some areas, but for us, that's cool and cold. So that will be my sometime project for the next 2 weeks. My back fence is gone. It takes 2,000 pickets, maybe closer to 1,000, but about 1,000 pickets and rails and uprights and things like that. I'm going to be working all that all through the fall and get that thing done. Maybe keep the big dogs out of my yard, right? I never said that I used an ISO to make a Mac OS VM at 331 Andre de Goyert. And if I hypothetically could have, would have, should have done something like that, maybe we could talk about that offline, but it's not within the Macintosh license to install a Mac operating system on a non-Mac machine. So I would certainly never do such a thing. you notice that? First cough. I'm back in biz. Throat is finally getting better. Trisha Grace. I love the pea butter that's just peanuts, nothing else. It's glorious. That's it. It's peanuts. My work with using SaltStack was fraught with failures. I don't know what SaltStack is, and I'm not letting that go. Let's go see what SaltStack is. And if it comes up with this, a big pile of salt, I'm going to turn my computer off and run away. Man, my network is slow today. There we go. What is Salt? Salt project. It's almost everything. Add spice to today's modern IT infrastructure. Thank you for the marketing blurbage. SaltStack project, saltproject.io is the website for the maintainers of this thing. SecOps, IT automation, and orchestration software. More than now it's Salt platform. Okay, so it's SecOps, IT automation. I would imagine that's challenging in the beginning. Kudos to you for getting a handle on it. Yeah, there's going to be some failures and darn it, full blast hiccups suddenly. Failing is succeeding in finding how not to do it. There you go. Yeah, it was awful about my neighbor. We're still good friends. I keep an eye on his house, kind of, sort of. So my water heater has been replaced. I have hot showers. I have holes in my ceilings and holes in my, I have no carpeting, and my floors and my stairs are suicidal. Nothing has changed for all intents and purposes, but we can live. Yes, no, I didn't get past the rules of Apple. It's like a chef for Ansible. Yeah. So I'm going to get ahead of myself here, just to kill a little bit more time here, and then we'll wind things up. Ansible has been around for quite some time. It's cool. It's wonderful. And I ran across some article that posited that Ansible is on its way out to be replaced over time by another provisioning package called Terraform. Now, because of some activities that I've been doing in the last 6 or 7 months, I have run across the term Terraform. I found it as tutorials, how to install Terraform on Raspberry Pi, but the way it was written up, I didn't understand what it was. So here was an opportunity to go down the rabbit hole and say, wait a minute, Ansible is going to be replaced by Terraform in this one person's opinion. I looked for a lot of other opinions and didn't find that same take on it, but I went and tried to dig around the differences and similarities, and I'll share that with you. It's kind of interesting. So Ansible is an open source, open maintained, automated provisioning package. Cool bananas. Terraform is a proprietary provisioning package that does some things that Ansible doesn't do, and Ansible does some things that it doesn't do. As a proprietary, it's got to be owned by somebody, right? Well, IBM owns Red Hat, big popular commercial installation distro of Linux, hugely popular with the US military and US government. More of that Linux installed in there than anywhere else, or than in any other US government and military entities. How's that? And Red Hat owns Terraform. So I ran across this article that said differences between this, or it was a comparison, Ansible versus Terraform. And I noted that it was written by either directed by IBM or by Red Hat. And I said, well, I know how this article is going to go. Terraform is better. It was a marvelously objective article. When I do Ansible again in 2 weeks, I'll put the link up for that and encourage you to check it out. It's not a long article. It's easy to read. It's easy to understand. And their take on it is, this is good for this is good for that. And therefore, using the two of them together to solve grand, complex challenges is a valid approach. So I took that in one of two ways. I said, you know what, maybe these guys are being totally open-minded and they are promoting the use of both of these things. Or if I want to put my jaded cap on, I might say they're looking in the crystal ball saying, oh my gosh, we're going to get clobbered by Ansible. And no, it's the other way around. I was thinking it was the Ansible people who wrote it and they're saying we're going to die. So let's try to prolong our life by saying Terraform is good too, and it can help us out. But no, this was written by the IBM side and they said use them both. So I'll take that as totally open-minded. Andre, you're going to like my answer. We'll talk about it on Discord. Okay, speaking of Discord, then let's get the links up one more time for all of the lovely things and links and stuff like that. And then we'll get ready to close the barn gates. Show notes. That's where that stuff is. Oh, I promised to do another contest. All right, let me put this stuff up and then I'll do another contest. That's perfect. That's a time killer. All right, just posted the AMA specials for the week. Remember that closes on Sunday night. We start a new special code on Monday morning. There's the Discord invitation. Come on over and see us on Discord. And so you just kind of go to the weed. We'll put my email and my LinkedIn, and that's all we need to post. Except prepping contest number 2. Contest number 2 is going to be a multiple choice question with one answer from Network Plus. And I didn't pick a particularly challenging one. Is that nice or what? I mean, nothing is totally easy, but if you've done any poking around in Network Plus, good chance you're going to do this one. Andre DeGoria, you may not win today. Another time. Okay, getting all my stuff prepped and ready for a contest. What am I doing on time here? Okay, it's 42. It only takes 6 minutes to do a contest or so. So that part's good. Mouse is not going to make it to the end of the day, I'll tell you that. All right, there's contest number 2. All right, so this is going to be 4 choice. Multiple guess answer. There's going to be one right answer. Remember, pick the best answer on this one. You may argue about some of the other ones. Well, if and no. Just take it at face value and kick its butt. How's that? Let's bring up the share screen. All right, so this is the winner page. This was our first contest of the day. It was the first answer of the day. So here we go. We are ready to do second contest question of the day. Multiple choice. Prize is 90-day free access to any total tester of your choice or any total sims of your choice that we have. I've expanded my offerings and I have permission to do that. Again, previous winners are allowed to win, but if I find multiple previous winners and I can identify who has won less or never, your shot at it. Okay, everybody ready for the question? I'm ready for the question. Here it goes. Multiple choice. Pick one answer. This is from N10008. This is the question number. Type in the correct answer. Don't submit A, B, C, or D. Select one correct answer. Elsa, not Els, needs to connect 2 switches together with no MDIX ports. Which of the following might she use? 4 choices: bridge, spanning tree, crossover cable, straight through cable. So the question again, Elsa needs to connect 2 switches together. The switches do not have MDIX ports. So which of the following might she use? A bridge, a spanning tree, a crossover cable, a straight through cable. Looking now at your answers. Thank you, Patricia Grace. That was hilarious. Sorry, watching answers, filling in notes, doing the things I have to do here. Okay, got people doing that, people doing that. Absolutely, thermal paste. Tie wraps. Duct tape. So I'm going with duct tape because I'm a red-green guy. That's another contest, a costume that I'm working on. That's a tough one. You would think that's pretty easy. He just dressed in flannel shirts like the everyman. But when you look at all of the things that he wears and then try to find a match for that, you will not succeed. I will eventually, but it's going to take years. Spanning Tree is a good indie band name. I think you've mentioned that before. Abel Bacher, you are explaining an answer to a question that's not being asked. So no, the goal here is post one answer from the choices here and don't give hints to other people. Your hint may be right, it may be wrong, but we are just posting answers here. And then we'll talk about rights and wrongs and ifs and whatevers. All right, looks like everybody who's going to submit has submitted. We do have a winner, and it is Abu Bakr Al-Haj. Congratulations, Abu Bakr Al-Haj. The answer is, see, I did that, so I can do that. Let me fix this. And then Abu Bakr, there we go. All right, Abu Bakr, I have just posted what you need to do and who you need to send to and the exact information that you need to send. Let's put this up. Well, let's get the answers here correct. Correct answers. Switches can be used, connected using a crossover cable connected to standard ports on both switches. You could, if you had an MDIX port, put any kind of cable that you want, a straight through or a cable, because MDIX auto detects, hey, is this a straight through? I'll do what I need to do to make it a crossover. Is it already a crossover? Then I'll maintain straight through. You only need MDX on one side for that matter. But that's it. So bridge the network device, no good. Spanning tree is a protocol, that's no good. And a straight through cable won't help you. You can't do straight through to straight through from a standard switch port to a standard switch port on a switch. They won't talk. All right, congratulations. Oh, let me do one more thing here. So Abu Bakr, I don't remember if you won before. Almost certainly you have, but here's what you're going to do. Again, copy and paste what I put in the sheet there in the YouTube chat. You're going to send me an email. Going to send it to daveR@totalsem.com. And in the body of the email, you must put these 4 fields. Don't say something like this is the same as that, right? I need your YouTube name as a field, Abu Bakr Al-Haj. Your given name, first name and surname. If it's the same, type it in again. Don't say same as YouTube name. I will reject that and send you back another message that says resubmit with the 4 fields. The email address that you want me to send you your access information to, and which practice test you want by exam number, right? So if you want A+, put in 220, 1101. By the way, the 1100 series practice tests are available, or Net Plus 1008 or SY0601, whatever the exam number is, that's what you're going to send to me. And I will turn this stuff in tonight. So you got to send it to me today. It gets submitted to tonight. And then on Monday morning, the lovely people who take care of that kind of stuff get on it first thing Monday or first thing Tuesday. So congratulations, Abu Bakr. And everybody else who said crossover cable and thermal paste. Just checking to see what else come up here. That's fantastic. But you answered first. Get away from me. Watch it, Mohan. I'll Mohan you so fast. And the other guy who tried to pull the stunt a couple weeks ago. Reading messages. He knew to just give the answer for other scenarios. Blue Leonard, you took my 444 spot. You guys are hilarious. I can put my straight through cable between two switches without MDX, only it won't work right. Reading into the question. Hey guys, that's Friday. Let's close things down a little bit. Can you close things down a little bit, or is the total close down? The web server will be up all weekend. Try this stuff, right? Install Ansible and install SSH Pass and build an inventory file. It's really simple. All you got to do is make a folder in the Etsy folder called Ansible. You're going to need sudo to do that. Create a text file in there called hosts. Make a key label and put some hosts underneath it with account names and passwords. You can, all the instructions to do that are in last week's and in this week's notes. It's really easy to put together and it's a lot of fun. Again, next week, we're going to do SSH keys. The week after that, we're going to do Ansible provisioning. What else we got coming up here? We got astrophotography coming up. We've got add an encryption certificate to web servers. And I ran across something really cool in my notes the other day that I'd forgotten we've done. Already forgot, or we haven't done it, but I forgot that I made that a note as a project. So I got a really cool project coming up from my notes, whatever they are. I have lots of projects in my notes, but whatever this, can I find it real quick? I probably can. Stand by. Feature. There it is, features. This will probably be really boring and I'm totally wrong at what I was thinking. I made so many new project notes this week that it's going to be, okay, time shift. We're going to talk about time shift, which is a backup utility. Yeah, that's the one. Backup restore with time shift. And is there anything up here? Yeah, that's the one. Oh, I've got one that's been sitting in my pocket forever. How to use your Linux box to check the weather anywhere in the world, anytime. It's really cool. Yeah, there's websites. I got a better way. It's quicker, it's easier. You can do it from the command line. That makes it quicker and easier. So lots of fun there. Mike's show this Monday. Wow, my notes here say regular show plan. That's not even close. Wonder what I'm looking at because I know I made an update. Anyway, Mike show's this Monday. Jessica Dickerson will be his guest. We've had Jessica on in the past. She was a huge hit, a guru of HR. She knows what you're going through. She has a number of specialties, including helping people who have certifications, and that's it, or otherwise limited experience, how you can spin your resume without lying, right? She's very strong on, be honest and be open, but don't be detrimental to yourself. Look, she's powerful. She's awesome. She knows this stuff so in and out, so well. She presents so well. She speaks to all of our levels. Do not miss Mike's show this Monday, same bat time, same bat channel, right here, 2 o'clock Monday. Steve Nicholson, I got word from him this week. He is back in the fold. He is recovered. He's back in his house. His internet is working, and he's ready to return as well. I debate whether I want to do back-to-back guests on Mike's show. I like when Mike does standalone shows and just answers questions. His last Wednesday show was just outstanding. So I'm not going to schedule Steve for the Wednesday immediately following Jessica, but I will try and get him on the following week. So that's going to be third week of October, Monday or Wednesday. We'll see what's good for him. And that is that. All right. Any other final questions here before we do the grand shutdown? Oh, lots of stuff has popped up here. I got to finish homework and write an email and write an essay. I have lots of nodes in my projects. Dispensaries legal in Michigan. Please don't post stuff like that. This is not the place for that. Turn on infrared scanner on your phone, Tulawit, then try again. Tulawit, I have played with your, I can't think of the name of it now, but the plant identifier, another identifier. That thing is just a hoot. somebody and I went to a flea market where they sell lots of plant sellers in there and poked around with that. That was a hoot. I'm Robin Hood for Halloween. Okay, that's cool. So Fox and Hounds are for, I have questions. Where's Scott? Scott left Total Seminars. He's out there doing his other and own thing. He and I are still good friends, and we do stuff together regularly. He and I are in a same fantasy league and communicate. He turned up not long ago on Discord, had a nice chat. So he will reemerge in a public eye eventually. There are things that have to be done that requires him to stay kind of submerged right now, but he's out there, he's doing fine. He's putting together his annual Halloween display. I'll head over there probably this weekend. I'm going to be driving past his neighborhood, so I'll make a stop in and see how things are going. But Scott as well. I was at Best Buy the other day, says Tullowit, and asked them if I can buy a cloud to store my data in. They don't sell clouds in there. You know, we get people on who come on the shows here and post messages, and there are a couple of people who really like Best Buy. Those are words that would never come out of my mouth after the word I just believe them. They carry a wide variety of products. Fine. Sometimes they probably have stuff that I want, but their pricing, oh my gosh, you have to be in a crisis where you need something to start somebody's heart again in the parking lot before I would be willing to pay the stuff they charge. Man, I'll wait for online. I'll do the 50-mile trip down to Micro Center. The last time I bought something from Best Buy was probably 5 years ago, when somebody sent me a gift certificate to Best Buy, so I didn't have a choice. I had to spend it. And if they'd given me actual cash, I could have got something 3 times better. Yeah, the plant idea, it's Scanner, Seer, something like that. Hopefully Walmart. Yeah, probably Walmart sells clouds. I would go in there. Go Raiders, go blue. Diwu, welcome, man. Right there at the end of the show. 5 minutes to go. Here he comes. Go Raiders, go blue. Yeah, I mean, Red Raiders. I'm assuming Michigan for Diwu. You got to know there'll never be a Michigan sticker of here. Western Michigan, maybe Eastern Michigan, but yeah, Red Raiders, totally. Got to type fast for Patricia Grace. All right, everybody's winding down here. Sadly, Best Buy is the only computer store here if you have urgency. Man, when I've bought from Walmart before and been bent over solidly without a thank you or a kiss. Can't speak for now, but a few years ago, their prices were right in line with Newegg. That would have been nice. I'm buying from Newegg all day. Their nearest Micro Center to me is 8 to 9 hours. Yeah, I understand that. Oh gosh, we are not going to talk about Mr. Harbaugh. Man, Harbaugh did something the other day, really ticked me off. First and foremost, I'm going to kill the last minute here talking about Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of Michigan State University football team. Boo. They're having a terrible couple of years under his tutelage. And I'm being from Ohio. I didn't go to Ohio State, but that's the big rivalry. And so every time Ohio State beats Michigan State, especially under Harbaugh, yay, we throw parties. And for that reason, I want Jim Harbaugh to stay at Michigan State forever. He's won one time in his tenure there, and that's it. And, you know, as long as he's there, I'm envisioning that they will mostly continue to lose to my Ohio State Buckeyes, and woohoo, waha. However, he did something so good the other day, so in keeping with my ethical system that, you know, if I were there, I'd clap him on the back and buy him a drink and hug him and say, absolutely, way to go. And so I really hate it when somebody whose position, whatever situation, like being coach of the rival, is something that doesn't make me happy, or maybe it does. But when they do something that's morally and ethically what I believe to be right, kudos to Jim Harbaugh for his stand. And it's religion and politics, so I'm not going to get into it, but good man in his real world. Hey, let's wind her up. We are done here. Give me that notes. Yeah, that page is the one to do. As ever and always, my thanks to Mike Myers, everybody at Total and National Cyber Group, who so generously provide us with time and resources so we can get together here every week. My most heartfelt thanks goes to you and everyone who comes here to participate. I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars, resident Pi specialist, wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. Call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And with that, good night. I'll pop in on Discord in a couple of minutes, say hi, and I'll see you at the AMAs next week. Until then, I am out of here.